Hey everybody, so I just wanted to make a video showing how I use the Zephyr Airway system to polish vintage trailers like this. So let's get into it. I'll show you some of the tips and tricks I've learned as well as some basic techniques. So what I'll be using today is a DeWalt 3000 RPM grinder right here. And now these are the Zephyr Airway wheels. So this is the secret sauce to the whole system here. You'll see that there's multiple layers of fabric in there, and that combined with the blocks of polish. This one's been pretty used up, but this is what the block of polish looks like right there. And so what you're basically going to be doing is holding the grinder vertically, just like this, and going back and forth on the trailer like such. So every now and then you're going to rake out your wheel to clean it, and then you're going to apply the polish to the wheel again. But before we get into it, let's get into what we're going to wear and some safety items here. So these grinders are spinning at 3,000 to 6,000 RPM, and that throws a lot of material at you and kind of just into the environment. So it is crucial to protect yourself and especially your lungs from this stuff as well. So I would recommend wearing a full bunny suit, but sometimes it's just too hot to do that. And so I recommend wearing at least a long sleeve t-shirt to keep your arms and the rest of your body fairly clean, because this stuff will get everywhere. Even if you're wearing a shirt, you're going to get dirty under your shirt. I'd recommend wearing at least a t-shirt and then a long sleeve, and it just makes cleaning up after much easier. You will get fairly dirty using this if you're not too protected, but it does come off pretty easy with soap and water. But I just try to avoid the hassle and to protect myself while I'm polishing. I use this long sleeve t-shirt right here. It has a hood on it as well, so I bring that up over my head because the back of your neck will actually get pretty dirty. So I usually keep this in my box and use it for a few days in a row, just to kind of keep the worst of the polish off of my shirt. So I'll put this on. So now that I have that on, next is a buff. So this is mostly to protect my neck and kind of the side of my face. I want to make sure that the edges of this don't get under my mask, which is next. So I definitely recommend a full face respirator for this. This is a much more comfortable than wearing just a half face respirator and then glasses or goggles, and this protects your face much more. You'll have a much cleaner face. I'm going to put this on last just so I can keep talking here, but then I also wear these armored gloves as well. Again, these grinders are spinning at 3,000 to 6,000 RPM, and they sometimes bounce off the metal funny, your hand slips, anything that can happen. Your hand will touch the wheel at some point, I can guarantee it, and it does not feel good. It's basically a carpet spinning at 3,000 to 6,000 RPM, so you get a very, very bad carpet burn. I highly recommend using some armored gloves. As you can see, mine have gotten quite a bit of use. I've touched the wheel quite a few times, and these have saved me every single time. So, highly recommend wearing those. What I do is I tuck my shirt into the glove there. Otherwise, polish will blow up through your sleeve because a lot of air comes off of this wheel. And before I put my mask on, I usually put some earbuds in. They're standard foam earplugs, or I have these Bluetooth headphones that I put in here. Kind of helps block out some of the sound, and then I also get to listen to music or podcast or whatever. After I put my mask on, then I put my actual hearing protection on. So what we're going to be working on today is the inside of this door on this 1953 Spartan Royal Spartanette. Now pretty much the whole trailer has been polished with 2 stages and going on the 3rd. And so this interior of this door was the only metal that I had on here that hasn't been polished at all. Now this metal looks to be in medium to rough shape, just in terms of the amount of etching on it, and the amount of kind of pitting. So we're going to start with this wheel right here, which is the yellow and orange pad and the brown triple E compound. This wheel has seen most of its life. This is pretty small at this point, but I only have a small section here to do, so this should be fine. So you typically use 2 to 3 wheels to polish. So this is my primary cutting wheel. So Zephyr does make a rougher wheel, but this is a good primary cut wheel, this yellow and orange one. So this wheel will go quite a long ways, and then I go to the Joker pad, which is this green and purple one that I have on here, and that's kind of your medium wheel and will really bring some clarity to the metal. And then after that I use the final white wheel, which basically just buffs out small imperfections and buffing lines and basically just kind of cleans up the metal before I call it done. So I'm going to switch wheels here, which is very easy. So on my grinder here, I just lock the wheel in, twist the wheel. I have this little flange on here that holds the wheel on. So on your wheel you have a shallow side and then a deep side. So you're going to want to have that deep side straight up. Take your second flange and screw that on. Tighten it up, and you're ready to go. Again, I do have another very small block of polish that I'm going to be using here. I don't recommend usually bringing the blocks down to this small, but I'll show you how I do it. So before I get suited up here, I want to show you how I use this system and some tips and tricks that I've learned along the way. So to start, we're going to be holding the wheel vertically, and obviously I'm going to do this without the wheel spinning at all. I like to have my handle on the grinder, and so I hold that with my right hand, and I just support the grinder with my left hand on the bottom. So then I like to connect the grinder with my body as well. So here I'm going to be holding it up with my left hand. I'm going to be pushing into it with my body here, and then I'm using my right hand on this handle to sway the wheel back and forth, kind of using my body to help sway as well, but this right hand is really just to guide that wheel. So in most cases, if you have decent metal, all you're going to do is, away from the trailer, you're going to take your block of polish, and with the wheel spinning, you're going to carefully apply that polish to the wheel and put your block of polish to the side and begin polishing for a few strips. But a tip that I have learned doing a trailer like this with some pretty rough metal is I keep this block of polish in my hand. Okay, so I'm holding the grinder up with my left hand again, pushing in with my body, but I hold that block of polish in my hand, then I use the other half of my hand to grab onto the handle here, then I just kind of push the polish over on top of the wheel so it's close to the wheel, and I can depress the polish to apply it when I need it and take it off when I don't, because the more polish you have, the deeper it will dig into the metal to remove imperfections that you're trying to get out. So what I do is I hold it like this, and I'm applying it when I need it, and then I take it off when I don't, apply it when I need it, take it off when I don't. It's just a whole lot easier than going back and forth for me. But you do want to be careful because when applying this polish, because this wheel is spinning in one direction, and if you stick the block of polish into the wheel at the wrong angle, it can send the block of polish flying. I've even had it when I'm doing it right here. I lose the polish in my hand and it hits the trailer and dents the metal. That's never good. So you want to be really careful when working around this spinning wheel with this polish. Same goes for the rake. So after you've done a few rounds of polishing and you've picked up quite a bit of metal on your wheel, you're going to, with the wheel spinning, take your rake right here and rake out the wheel to clean it out, and then reapply your polish and repeat. So let me get suited up and show you how I do it here. Alright, so I'm sorry that this is the absolute worst metal on the entire trailer. Of course it was the one I saved for this video. As you saw, I had to switch over to the Blue Baron wheel just to try to cut through some of this pitting. This is going to take a bit more time to go over, but I hope you guys got a good idea for how to use the Zephyr system, and hope you saw how fast, efficient, and easy it actually is when comparing it to the traditional wool pad system. I started out using the wool pad system and I was getting nowhere, and so as soon as I switched to this, it was instantly a game changer, just because of how quick it cut, and the polish I got off of it was so clear that there was really no going back. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video today. I hope it was helpful. If it was, make sure you share it with your friends. It really helps if you leave a like and subscribe. It just really helps out the channel, and it will get this video out to more people who need to see it. So with that, I thank you again, and happy polishing.